Happy Sunday afternoon, everyone. Barbara here, just a couple of minutes behind, and of course, technical difficulties. So, don't see anybody. I did something a little different with my phone this time, so I'm hoping that once I turn it back down to the surface that I'm working on, it'll be an easier transition. But we will find out. So. Anyway, thank you for joining me. My name is Barbara Ragsdale, and I am a Stampin' Up! Independent distributor that's located in the San Antonio, Texas area. And if you're not familiar with Stampin' Up!, we are a paper crafting company that has coordination every which way you look, as far as stamp sets, designer series paper, cardstock paper, inks, whether they're stamp pads or markers, watercoloring, you name it. There's a lot of color coordination going on today, and you'll be able to see from these stamp sets what I'm talking about. Now, the oh, here it is. Last week, I did mention in last week's video, hi Catherine, I can actually see my comments on here. So am I showing the right way to you as far as this way? Because sometimes I struggle with getting that right, and if you can see me right, just give me a thumbs up. It looks right on my iPad, but I could be wrong. It looks right on my iPad, so unless somebody tells me I'm sideways, then I'll just keep going. But last week I did mention that I was going to be doing another set of masculine cards using the Mountain Air stamp set, which is probably too much light. I'm in front of a window and I've got lights on me, so I'll turn it over here. I don't know if you can see that, but a lot of these stamp sets are basically just images and shadows of mountains, trees, there's some clouds, there's a moon or a sun, I guess, whatever, there's some birds, you name it. There's a little bit of everything on there. There's no sentiments, so what I did was I decided to go ahead and pair that with Peaceful Moments, which is something that I've showed you before. These have a lot of sayings to it, so I took 3 sayings from Peaceful Moments. So as you can tell, I don't know if there's, I can't see my whole screen on my phone, but there's a lot of different sentiments on this particular stamp set. And one of them says, life is better with a friend like you. You shouldn't have, but I'm glad you did. Congratulations. Thinking of you with all my heart. These are the moments we'll look back on with joy. Always remember, happy birthday, with deepest sympathy, thank you, and wishing you every happiness this special day will bring. So I'm using this stamp set for the sentiments or greetings, and I'm also using the Tasteful die labels, which I'm going to try to show them. Hopefully they'll stick to the paper. But this is a series of labels. Let's see if I can, there we go. There's a series of label that also goes with the Tasteful Touches stamp set that's in the new annual catalog. So taking a couple of dies from this stamp set, or from this die set that coordinates with that stamp set. But I wanted to go ahead and show you all 3 of the cards that we'll be making today. And this is card number 1. I can't tell if that's too much light. You can see that or not. That one says happy birthday, by the way, down here at the bottom. Happy birthday. And this one says thank you. And then this one is the one that says these are the moments we'll look on back with joy. So I'm thinking it's too bright right here. I'm going to try to adjust the blinds real quick. Hold on. There we go. I think that's a little bit better. I've had some extra light shining on me. So But thank you for joining me today. We are going to do these 3 masculine cards, and then starting next week, I am going to start getting into some of the new sets in the new annual catalog. So, but before I get started, I just wanted to remind you that I do have a BOGO sale going on right now. So when I point the camera down, you're going to see my blog spot, and then you're also going to see an online host code. And what that is reserved for is anyone that places an order of $25 or more, you're going to get a set, a cut set in order to make 4 cards using the Forever Greenery stamp set. And I actually do have all 4 cards, so let me grab those. I thought they were within arm's reach, but they weren't. So all 4 cards using, I'm sorry, it was the Forever Fern stamp set. And then there's also coordinating dies that go with that stamp set as well. But you're going to get a kit to make all 4 of these cards, and something just stuck. Oh, it moved. I didn't have that on sticky enough. But this is the first one that says Love and Laughter Forever After. It's probably too dark. There we go. That one. There's one that says Hello, and on this piece of white cardstock, if you can't see it, it actually is embossed with one of the embossing folders. And then this card that says To a Friend That Makes Me Smile. I love the colors going on in this. And then this is almost the exact same card, except this is the simple stamping version. And when I say simple stamping, we're referring to, it's just stamps, ink, and paper. That's it. We're stamping directly on paper. We're not using any kind of techniques that are too involved. We're not using any die cutting. There's no embossing. And that's just to show you that your cards can look nice without everything else. If you just be a little creative, you can make cards. You can make very simple cards that are really, really inexpensive. A lot more inexpensive than Hallmark for sure. So I'm going to set these back aside, and then go ahead and welcome you again. Thank you for joining me. If you are watching the video, make sure to comment, like. If you have any questions along the way, just let me know. These cards really are not as hard as they look when I made them. I think I spent more time trying to figure out a design for each one of them than I actually did putting them together. And you're going to be able to see how they come together really, really nice. So let's get started. I'm going to put these 2 away, and I'm going to get started with the happy birthday card. So let me get the camera moved. Make sure it doesn't move on me again. Hi, Joyce. I got your paper pumpkin kit out to you already, so you should be getting that pretty soon. For those of you joining me the first time, Joyce was the winner for last week's video of the May pumpkin paper pumpkin kit that sold out. So this is how you win. You watch my videos, you like, you comment, you share. If you share it, just type shared in the comments, because Facebook does not tell me who shared. It just tells me a number. And I want to make sure you get credit for the entry. So hi, Christine. If y'all missed the beginning, I think this is the order that they're in. These are the 3 cards that we're going to be doing today with the Mountain Air bundle. And I'm also going to take some sentiments from Peaceful Moments, and I'm using the Tasteful dies that coordinates with Tasteful Touches, only because there's so many different die cuts that we can use for these cards. Only because Mountain Air only has coordinating die cuts. It doesn't have any sentiments of any kind. So we're actually going to get started with this one right here. So I'm going to set that aside so you can kind of see along the way as we get going on this. And I did want to let you know that I'm going to be using some of the new in colors. I'm going to be using 2 of them. I'm going to be using Just Jade, which this is one of the new in colors, Just Jade. And then I'm also going to be using Misty Moonlight, which is the blue shade. So I'm going to set those aside. These 2 are the same. No, one's slightly. The smaller one's what I need to work on. This one goes on the inside because it's a dark base, but let me get that there. And these are photopolymer stamps, so I'm going to be, I have my little foam pad underneath, and then I'm going to put another one off to the side over here, just so that when I stamp off, I've got a space that's also got some foam underneath it as well. So I don't know why that seems like it's kind of close, but let me see if I can adjust it a little bit back more. It may start sliding back. Hi Veronica, glad you could join us today. We're making some cards. We're gonna make this card, this happy birthday card. So you know guys, the Father's Day is coming up, and so we want to make sure we've got some cards ready for the men in our lives. And not because it's just Father's Day. Maybe you want to wish them a happy birthday or thank you, whatever it is. Guys can get cards too, pretty cards. So the colors we're using on this card is the Just Jade. We're using soft suede, and then we're going to use Misty Moonlight as well. But we are going to be doing some stamping off techniques as well, just to lighten up those mountains in the back. So that's actually the first step that we're going to start with, is the mountains. And I know what I did was I'm going to stamp full strength of the mountain, and then I'm going to stamp off and make sure I got ink on all that. So I'm going to go with 1 stamp to get the full image. And then with the rest of the ink that's on there, I'm just going to go slightly above that and press down. And that's where you get basically the shadow, like it's far away in the background. I'm cleaning my stamps as we go along because I'm using the same stamps in every single one. And then the next one is the row of tree line. And for that one, I'm going to be using, let me set that aside. I'm going to be using Just Jade so that it coordinates with the cardstock that we're using. And basically the same thing. I'm just gonna ink that up. And since I can see through the stamp, I can make sure that I have exactly, that there's ink all over each particular image. And I'm gonna come just below the mountain line. I'm going to press down, and I have that image, and then I'm going to just move it slightly over, press down, and then I have that kind of background image there. Now, in order to get, that was one of my, I'm like, I have a loose hair and it's like tickling my arm up here, so it fell down there. In order to get the water, what I'm going to be using, and I'm done with Just Jade, so I'm going to close that up and start using Misty Moonlight. I'm going to stamp, there's another hair, full strength of Misty Moonlight, but you notice how, I don't know if you can see that from there, I don't want the trees in that. I just want the water effect. So I'm only going to be inking the first top of that. So the good thing is I can see on my ink pad where ink is going to be. So I'm just inking that area up, and I need a little bit more over here. And I'm going to bump it up against the bottom of the trees. And I'm using full strength. And then if I wanted to go another level, I could. I think I did 2 on that one, but that's only because I did something a little different up here and here. So I'm just gonna leave it that way because I need to keep an area reserved to stamp Happy Birthday. But that's how I did the water effect there. Now if you wanted water, you could also just break out your blends and do some coloring there, which I'm gonna actually do on the 3rd card. And then I'm gonna go back, pull that aside, and I'm gonna stamp Happy Birthday in soft suede. Just off to the side. And there we go. So let me clean that and put that away. And I'm gonna try to be real careful this week with not getting ink over everything. I'm gonna close these up since I'm done with stamping. The general rule is you wanna do all your stamping first. And you wanna do your stamping so that if you put this whole card together, if you put all these layers together and then you did your stamping on top, first of all, you'd probably get some ink along your sides. But at the same time, if you messed up on any of this, oh, I need to do the birds. If you messed up on any of this, then you would basically have to redo your entire card, because what I'm using today is the, where'd I put it? It's the new adhesive, and it is actually, oh, here it is, right in front of me. This is what our new adhesive looks like. It's larger, so it's taking me the last, I don't know, the last few times I've used it, I've been making myself use it, even though it was kind of hard for me because of my hands not being able to wrap around it and give it that strength. But it works, and I can feel it when I put it down that it's really sticking. So I'm not going to use glue today because I'm forcing myself to use the new Stampin' Seal that we have. And then we also have a Stampin' Seal Plus that's designed for like 3D projects and things like that. So, but let me put the birds on there. I forgot about the birds. And I stamped the birds in soft suede, and I just used 2 of them. And then you want to make sure the birdies or seagulls or whatever they're supposed to be. It's supposed to represent kind of birds flying. If you wanted to put more birds on your card, if you were making this, you could certainly put more birds. So, but we're going to leave it at that for now. And then I'm going to turn that over. And this adhesive works exactly like our old adhesive. It's like a giant whiteout thing, but you can't even hear it. I know in the past videos you could hear like the cranking of that little mechanism on the inside, but on this one you can't. So I'm going to take our piece of just Jade and I'm going to fold it in half. Make sure I get that lined up. And then, where's my bone folder? Take our bone folder and just help get that crease down a little more. And I already have adhesive on the back. You see how sticky it is. Skipping a step. Sorry, I have a piece of soft suede here. I need to mount that too. Glad I didn't put it down. So just kind of hover it around your base, and when you can see it, it's going to be even all around the side. I don't want to go like that because I might smear it if some of this ink. It probably would smear once it's completely dry. But then I'm going to put, here we go. This is what it was doing, but that's because I'm not giving it enough strength. Like nothing's coming out right now. There we go. You have to do it. I mean, you literally have to hold this the right way. Plus, you have to cross your eyes, cross your legs, say a prayer for it to come out. And I mean, I don't know if it's just me and the difficulty I'm having because of my hands, but we're gonna have to find something else if this doesn't work, because I can't get it's right there. It just won't turn for me. But that actually is, there, I did it. So that actually is enough if I go all the way. I'm just so used to going all the way around and going several times in the middle with the old adhesive. which was kind of a hassle as well. And then we're just going to do that. And then that actually is the front of the card, but I do have another piece of Very Vanilla. I didn't want to use Whisper White because I thought the Very Vanilla really helped complement this soft suede and just jade color. So we're going to get some, here we go. Okay, once I got it going, it goes, but we're going to do this on the inside. You can hear how sticky that is. That way there's something on the inside. And I didn't do any stamping. I wanted to keep it simple this time. But what I will do, if I can, here it is. I'm going to stamp in soft suede with my personalized stamp. Just making sure it's even there. Hand stamped by me. All right, guys, that's card number 1. Happy birthday card. It's just slightly different than the sample that I did last night, and that's because no two cards are exactly alike. These are handmade with love. Hope you like that one. I like it. I love the colors. Even the new in color, the Just Jade. So, kind of glad I did only one on this one because it left a little bit of room for me to stamp happy birthday. Or if it was a larger sentiment. Or even if you wanted to use a longer sentiment, you could along the bottom of this. But this, guys, is literally simple stamping. It's just stamps and paper, nothing else. But that shows you that with a little creativity, you can turn basically this into that with some ink. Okay, so we're going to get started on card number 2, which involves there we go, there's card number 2. This one involves some die cutting. So I did do the die cutting already because I didn't want to, even though the big shot's right here next to me, I didn't want to go through and have to deal with that. So I went ahead, in order to save some time as well, went ahead and stamped and imaged the die cuts. Okay, and so for this one, for this card, what I used is Night of Navy. So I decided to not use the Misty Moonlight for the cardstock because I wanted it to be darker. And our Misty Moonlight shade, I want to show you a piece, compared to the Night of Navy, is a lot lighter. And I wanted it to be a darker base. So I decided to pull out the Night of Navy. And then we have Sahara Sand. And then Whisper White. And there's 2 pieces as well. That's the one I want to use. And this one's the one reserved for the inside. And then I went ahead and did those. So we're going to get started on the stamping. And on this one, what we're doing is we're doing some mountains, but we're also creating the effect that there's mountains, the shadow, I guess you could say, of a mountain. I guess that's a proper word. And I'm saving a little bit of room here in order to do a thank you greeting down here. So we're going to get started on this one. For the green on this one, though, I am going to use Old Olive. So I'm kind of going back to basics with the greeneries. And that's just to show you that we have lots of shades of green. They all have a different color, and Chris and I argue all the time when I'll tell him, this is Night of Navy, and he's like, it's blue. And I'm like, no, it's not. And I'll be like, this is Misty Moonlight, the new one. And he's like, no, that's just a lighter blue. So I'm like, it doesn't matter. Whatever color I'm pulling out and telling him what it is, he's like, no, it's either blue, green, yellow. It's very basic. So I'm like, all right, well, there we go. So this is Sahara Sand. And let me find my mountains. I do with my mountains? Oh, they're over here. Oops. And I know on that one, I'm pretty sure, let me stamp off just to make sure. Yeah. I stamped off on the back just to get, bring that up. It may be darker in some other sections if you didn't come, like that happened over here. That happened because of this right here. Both of my, what do you call them? Lost my train of thought on that. But both of my little pads underneath, that's where they cross, so it didn't quite get that. But that's okay. And I'm going to leave that open because I'm going to be doing something, the last step. So with Misty Moonlight, I'm going to take the mountains again. So let me clean that off. I'm going to ink up Misty Moonlight. Make sure I got ink on all of it. Make sure I'm on this piece. And I'm going to stamp off. And then I'm going to stamp on right underneath these mountains. I only did it once, yeah. So there's those mountains. And then I don't want the trees in this, but I do want where that water part starts. So what I'm going to do is only ink up one line of the water, and I'm not going to stamp off. I'm just going to stamp directly on it. And so here I can tell that I'm just going to get the water. I don't want the trees in this one. So this stamp set will serve actually, or this particular stamp serves two purposes. And then I'm just going to line that right underneath that bottom line of mountains, and then press down, bring it up, and then you have just the water line, I guess the land line, whatever you want to call it. You could also do it the other way too, if you wanted to. I just did it that one way. And then back with the mountains again. Bring the Sahara sand back. And I'm going to do the same thing I did the first time. I'm just going to ink it up full strength. I'm going to stamp off. And then I'm going to come right beneath this line of water that I just stamped. Let's do this. No, we'll leave it that way. I was going to push it off to the side, but I don't remember what I did on the first one, because it's not an exact image. Maybe the sun's shining in a different direction, so it moved the shadow off to the side. So that's what I want to believe. So I'm going to close the Sahara sand up because I'm officially done with that particular ink. And I'm going to leave Misty Moonlight right here off to the side. And open my old olive. Hi, Casey. I'm glad you could join me today. And then what I did with the pine trees is I just used two different. I used the same stamp, but I used the single one on one side and the one that's together on the other side. And I'm just going to stamp some images off to the side in old olive. And I did stamp off. And the stamp off technique, because I don't want a full strength picture like that, I stamped off most of the ink, and then I'm going to stamp off on my image so that it transfers the rest of the ink that's on there. And I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. I stamp off. I'm going to stamp over here and bring it straight back up. You could do more if you wanted to do more. I just decided to just do single ones off to the side because I already had these. Now I'm done with old olive, so I'm going to close that up. And then now that we have all of that stamping, I'm going to go ahead and do the thank you here in the middle with the Misty Moonlight. right here in the middle. Okay. And I'm done with Misty Moonlight. I'm going to leave it open for one last thing. But for now, we're basically done with all the stamping. And remember, we want to do all our stamping first. That way, we don't put it all together and do our stamping last. And then if we mess up, we got to do the card all over again. That's a bummer. It's happened. It's happened to me plenty of times. And that's why you learn. And here I go again. Give me a moment. There we go. Till we get this thing going. I got, there we go. This is our new Stampin seal, which took place of the adhesive. Let me do this. Let me get this on here. This is a piece of Whisper White that I used. I'm not sure. Yeah, that's Whisper White. My eyes are just not focusing today. I'm seeing other colors and thinking there's something else. So I went ahead and mounted that on a piece of Sahara sand. And bear with me as I get used to this new stamping seal. It does come out, but okay, well that's enough. It may come out for me on the next one. I'm gonna put that aside, and I'm gonna go ahead and make sure I got the right side of this Night and Navy. Let's fold that. Use our bone folder to help define that crease. And then we're gonna put this on top. Just hover it till it's in place, and then when you're pretty confident that you've got it even all the way around, just do that little number. And while I have that open like that, I'm going to go ahead and put the inside on. There we go. In my mind, my eyes are crossed, because that's my hope that the Stampin' Seal cooperates with me and my hands. There we go. Now to put these pine trees on, I'm just going to use some dimensionals. I'm going to use a large one right here, and then I'm going to use a smaller one near the top in case this top catches on something. Take the little backings off, and then get these in place. Same thing with this one over here. Don't forget, if you're watching, like, comment, share. If you tell me that you shared, that actually gets you into a drawing for 2 times if you share. And what the prize is, every single week when I'm on here at 3 p.m., the prize is the cards that we're making. You get those absolutely free. Well, I trimmed my nails not too long ago, and now I can't pick up anything with my thumb. Just get that over here, right here. Okay, and there is card number 2. Thank you. And then when we use dark bases, we like to put a piece of cardstock on the inside. That way, if you have another sentiment that you want to stamp on the inside, you can do that. Or if you want to write something, you have plenty of space. Or if you're sending a picture in it, you could maybe put the picture up here and then write whatever you want to write down here. That's typically what we do for Christmas cards, which, by the way, demonstrators are already preparing for the holiday catalog. Is that not crazy? We just got the new annual catalog, and we're already updating our mailing selectors for to mail out holiday catalogs. So, oh my goodness. So maybe you're asking, how can I get a catalog? I want a catalog. To automatically get a catalog with me, if you place any size order through my website, you automatically get put on my catalog mailing list, unless you tell me you don't want the catalog. And then when Stampin' Up! Sends those out every May, every July, and then every December, there's 3 catalogs that we have. It's the annual catalog, it's the celebration / mini catalogs sale, which is the first 3 months, and then we have a holiday catalog that comes out in August. So as demonstrators, we get to pre-order and play with all those products before the general public, which is just a fabulous perk on top of our discounts. So I don't know if you can see that whole code. There's that whole code, and then there's my blog, which is where the BOGO is on. So if you haven't yet checked it out and you are interested in participating in BOGO, then go straight to my blog spot. There's a whole page with all of the details and all of the items that are up for grabs in my personal stash of Stampin' Up. And BOGO is when you buy some of the retired, you get the equal value in the new catalog for free. It literally is that simple. So there's card number 2. And this one is card number 3. A little bit more involved, but it's almost the same as this other one. I just changed it up a little bit with the water, and then also with the colors as well. So for this card, I am using Mossy Meadow, and I'm also going to use Mossy Meadow for the ink as well. And I'm using Crumb Cake and Seaside Spray. And with this one, I went ahead and cut these out as well and die cut them, stamped and die cut. So, and I think I'm missing the sheet from the inside, but I can cut another one when I get to that point. But on this one, there is no mat like the other 2 had mats. I'm going to stamp directly on here and then place it directly on my base. So let's get started. We got Crumb Cake. Get those off of there. Make sure that's clean before I go dipping this in the Crumb Cake. So we're going to stamp the first line of mountains. Get that over with full strength Crumb Cake, and this is not long enough, but I'm going to show you how I'm going to fix that. So there's the first line, and then I want it to continue over here, so all I'm going to do is just ink up that little section and do this number just to get that there. Now I know when I go back to do that, it's going to end up getting all of that, so I'm just going to do it again. Stamp off, and then go back behind that in order to get the rest of that ink off. And if you want to continue it, you can do the same thing by just, if there's any ink on that one, it'll continue to show, and the other side as well, which there really wasn't, but I'm going to kind of see if I can fix that because I don't like that. If I boo-boo on these cards, I always end up giving out my samples that look a lot better. So, and you might not even tell I can boo-boo, but we can tell when we boo-boo. And I'm going to leave that out because I'm going to be stamping the greeting with that. But now I want to do that line of, that line right here is completely throwing me off, in Mossy Meadow. And for that line of trees, I don't want the water under there. I just want the trees out of this stamp set. Oops, wrong one. Out of this stamp set. So all I'm going to do is ink up the tree line. And that's the good thing about these photopolymer stamps, is you can actually see where your ink is. And I'm going to be stamping it in full strength. I'm not stamping off, but I am going to be stamping it double. And I'm going to show you what I'm talking about. So I'm going to try to get right below those mountains. Press, get that, and go back and re-ink. just the trees. I just got ink on my finger, so hopefully I don't get it on the card. And I'm just gonna kind of shuffle over just a little bit. My hand was wobbly. And do that number. That is kind of off a little bit, so let me do this. Let me clean that. Start there. Get that. So I can fill in this little area right there. I probably thought that looked just fine, but I'm like, nope, there's an empty space that needs to get filled with some ink, so we're going for it. Now, in order to get the water, what I did was, I wanted the water, but I wanted a little bit of texture to the water as well. So with my Seaside spray, I'm using this same stamp, and let me go clean it again to make sure I got all of that off of that one. I'm only going to be using the water part below the tree line on here with Seaside spray. You just have to make sure you clean your stamps really well. And what I'm using off to the side, if you hear squeaking when I do that, is I'm actually using the simple chamois. It's just a chamois that gets wet. We put it in a case, and it's just a more convenient way to clean our stamps on the spot without having to break out the other cleaning mechanism and the mist that goes with it. And with this, trying to get below that tree line, I'm stamping full strength. Go. There was some ink on there, but I think I did the same thing on my sample, so I'm gonna actually do another line. I'm gonna show you why I'm doing another line. Just gonna do double line here. Okay. I'm actually done with my Seaside spray with that particular piece. So I'm going to close that up, and I'm going to bring out the Stampin' Blend in light Seaside spray. And then what I'm going to do, let me do the trees first, because I can go around the trees and it helps save a little bit of ink on the Stampin' Blend. So let me get my tree back. And I think on that one, I did 2 trees on one side, and we're gonna stamp it. I'm stamping it in full strength Mossy Meadow, kind of off to the side. Missed that one, missed that little piece right there. Let's see if I can recover. Probably not. I'll probably mess it up. I'll probably end up just giving away my sample, but I'm gonna keep going. I don't want to mess it up. And on the other side, I'm gonna ink that up with some Mossy Meadow and stamp 2 over here. Why it's doing that? I don't think there's anything underneath that. I'll stamp another one off to the side. That's gonna drive me nuts. That one's driving me nuts. So I can go back over. If I had the Stamparatus and was using the Stamparatus, I could easily go right back over this image. I don't know if that helped, but I could easily go back and repeat that image if I was doing that set, if it didn't all ink up. I could just re-ink it using the Stamparatus and go back down, and it would go exactly in the same spot. But I'm not using that right now. I do want to show to you guys on one of these new upcoming demonstrations, so I'm just cleaning that off. Make sure I don't have ink on me. So for the water, what I'm doing is taking the Stampin' Blends, and I'm taking the paintbrush side. There's a part that writes And then there's a part that is a lot thicker. So whatever you're doing will determine what side you need to be working on. So, hi Erica. Glad you could join us. Dibs on my messed up sample. Okay. So what I'm doing is I'm taking the painter side of that blends and I'm just literally going to color in this water real light, and I'm using the light one on purpose. And then what I'm going to go ahead and do is everywhere around, I'm doing this on purpose. I'm not doing it to be lazy, but I'm just kind of doing this number. I'm not trying to color the whole background because it's going to get covered up, but I do want to do kind of like an extension off of that, off of the water. You'll see. So I'm technically done with this, and I'm going to go ahead and close up this Mossy Meadow and break out the soft suede again. And I had a sheet of paper over here. I had a cutout already for the sentiment, but I seem to have misplaced it. So we'll do that last. We'll do that and then the other piece that goes on the inside last, because I thought I had all the pieces cut already for that. So let me put that off to the side before I get ink on everything. Got my Mossy Meadow base. Make sure I fold it right. Bone folder. And then put your fingers together and hope this works for me on this one. Oh, look at that, it works. I know I'm probably complaining about it right now, and it'll get easier, and I hope it gets easier once I break it in and start using it. But same thing with the other one, just kind of center it to make sure that it's going to be even all the way around the card. I'm just going to tap it because clearly I get ink on everything. But you know what I forgot to do? I forgot to do the birdies. Uh-oh. I want to do those in Seaside spray. This should not be a problem doing these because this actually worked pretty well the first time when that was an afterthought. The little birdies were an afterthought when I did this the first time. And let's throw some over here. There's a lot of birds flying today there. We'll do that number. There we go. And now I can close up Seaside spray. What do you say? Your cards are always fabulous. You make me what? I can't see it. Laugh, cry, mad. So we're actually done with that piece, but since I have my white piece of paper over here, I'm going to cut another piece really quickly for the inside. Because I think on one of my samples I boo-booed and then had to use it, and then I didn't go back and replace it. So, and I think part of my problem is let's cover that up. I've got ink down there, so the transfer is happening from the excess ink I'm stamping off on my grid paper. So let's do that. Center that one as well. I'm not going to do any stamping on the inside, not on these. And then what I am going to do, or what I have to do kind of off to the side, is I'm going to take this particular die cut from the Tasteful Labels dies, and I'm going to cut me a piece of Whisper white paper. And I'm going to have to do this off to the side real quick because I've got my big shot over here. There we go. And I'm having to use our big shot because we don't have the ability to order the new get that off of there. The new die cutting machines, which is pretty sad. We're sad. Okay, so I'm gonna use, I want the darker one. I think I used the lighter one, but I'm gonna use, no, I'll use what I used the first time, which is Crumb Cake. And that one, this is gonna be the one that says these are the moments we'll look back on with joy. Gonna ink that up. Make sure make sure it's the right way too. I don't have my images on here, so I'm kind of glad I looked at it a second time to make sure that I was going to be stamping right. But even if it wasn't, I could flip it around. Get that one in the middle. I'm gonna go ahead and close this Crumb Cake, and I'm gonna go ahead and close this soft suede as well. And then I'm just going to put a dimensional on the back, which we can put one right in the center. Peel that off. Bring our card back here. And kind of stick this in the middle to kind of help cover up some of that water. And then with our die cut images, same thing. We're going to put a dimensional on the back here. A smaller one up here to make sure that it doesn't catch and get ripped off the card. And then we're going to stick these little die cut trees right off to the side. And then same thing with this. Take those off. So next weekend, what I'm going to be doing is the cards for the monthly host special, which actually is different than the BOGO. So depending on what you're ordering for, you want to make sure that you select the right host code. This host code is for the monthly special. And if you missed it in the beginning, the monthly special is using Forever Fern, and these are the 4 cards. You'll get a kit, a free kit. If your order is $25 or more, you'll get a free kit in order to make all 4 of these cards. So there's that one, there's the hello, this is a simple stamping version, and this is a version that has a little bit of everything going on. It's more for the advanced, but beginners could do this too with just a little instruction. So next weekend I'm going to be doing 3 of these 4 cards just to show you what the kit is for the May online special, which is what this host code is for. So if you're not planning on participating in BOGO and you just want to order because you need a few things, orders of $25 or more will get a kit to make those cards for free. You just have to make sure you own the stamp sets and the inks and all that. Or if you want to just the cut paper, you could get that as well. But don't forget, if you already have your materials and you just want to know how to do it, then you can also just order the tutorials. Or if you just don't want any of that, you're like, I don't want to have to buy anything, I don't want to have to make anything, I just want the cards. Can you make them for me? Yes, that is an option as well. So every month there's going to be 2 links on the website that has the monthly host code on my Stampin' Up website. It'll be on the blog as well, but that'll tell you your options, and it'll give you the square link to go check out depending on what you were wanting. So, but back to this. There's card number 3. Gorgeous. So this is card 3. This was card number 2. Oops. And then this was card number 1. Let me see if I can get that where you can see them all. All 3 of these cards. Using the Mountain Air, which does have coordinating dies. I didn't use any dies for the mountains this time, but that's not to say you can't use them, but there are dies available. There's actually 2 other dies. There's the 2 trees, there's the mountains, mountaintops, and then there's also the coordinating one that goes with the clouds. that one's on there as well. Well, that's part of the set, but that's a bundle set. So, but now if you want the bundle set, you don't get the 10% off anymore because that ended when the mini catalog went retired. Everything retired at the end of May. So, you like card number 2? You like this one? Yeah, that is from the beginning. This is the new in color, just Jade. That's the one I used on that one. And then the blue, with the exception of this cardstock, the blue that I used in every single one of these is the new in color Misty Moonlight. This version is just full strength, and this one's the stamped off version. So that's that. So I wanted to kind of put in some in colors in there to show you what the in colors look like in action. And then I also wanted to wrap up this particular series of masculine cards because I am ready to show you guys that other new set, the Forever Fern, in the demonstration for next week. So lots of exciting things. I'm gonna go ahead and point you back to me. See if I can get this right. We're gonna see. We're gonna find out real quick if I can get this right. Get my hand out of the way. There we go. As you can tell, I still have all the BOGO stuff out on my table, so it's kind of full in here, but I can't wait to get rid of most of it and be able to put it away. But anyway, thank you for joining me today. I do appreciate you watching. Don't forget to be entered to win all 3 of these cards. All you have to do is like, comment, share. You can also, if you share it, you get 2 entries. So, and then I do go back and have to count, you know, who all got entries and put them in there. So, but I do thank you for joining me. Yeah, there I am. Every single week I have to try to do something different with this camera, so this week seemed to work a little bit better with switching it. So, but anyway, thank you, and don't forget to go to my blog, check out the new Annual Catalog BOGO event page. You may see a page next to that said new product share, new annual product share. I did have a share that went on earlier. The RSVP date and payment deadline date for that has already passed, but if I can get at least another 2 or 3 people in order to do a share, then I can create another one. So the last one filled up pretty quickly, and I can always create another one. So we're still in that time of the catalog where things are fresh. But I will tell you that some things are already being sold out, and we are only in, the catalog came out the 3rd, and it's what, the 6th or 7th? So we're already, you know, 3 or 4 days into the new catalog, and things are selling quickly, and there's even things that we can't get. The only reason we have it now is because we as demonstrators were able to order during the pre-order process and play with it. So, that's just one of the perks. So, but there is also a join special as well. So if you join from June 3rd through the end of the month, you get to choose. Not only do you get to choose $99 in free product, or actually you choose $125 in free product for $99, but you're actually given the opportunity to order a stamp set or a bundle, which is going to be maybe a stamp set and a coordinating die or coordinating punch. Absolutely free to that. So you're getting $125 worth of product, whatever you want, and it can be new product. You're getting a free paper pumpkin kit. You're also going to get your choice of an additional stamp set or stamp bundle that you can add on there. And I think the most expensive one, somebody looked it up, was over $60. So, and I don't know which one that was, but thank you. But that's a great time. So it's a great time to join right now. So if you want to do it, if you want to just do it for the discount, That's totally allowed. There's no obligation to continue to stay active unless you absolutely want to, but I'm telling you, you'll get hooked. This is a great group of girls that's part of our team, our indirect and direct teams, and there's a lot of fun and exciting things that happen within our team. My upline is Jennifer Cotton, and she's located in Midlothian, so I attend a lot of her events as well, whether they're online or retreat wise. So that's a plug, because later this year we're going to be doing a retreat here in the Hill Country, so watch out for that as well. But if you want to be on my communication list, all you have to do is go to this Facebook page, leave your information. You can go to my blog, fill out the little contact me section, or you can email me. And when I'm done with the video, I'm going to be posting all of the details. It may post the video, but I'll have to go back and add the details to all supplies that we used, as well as this video, so that you can go back and watch the replay. So anyway, y'all have a fabulous Sunday afternoon. Stay cool. Make sure you stay hydrated. And I hope to see you next Sunday at 3 p.m. right here at Barbara's Stamp Pad. Bye, y'all.